we are very early in the work of the reopening task force, knowing that safety is the utmost priority as we do this planning, and that we will be following the guidance of the state of New York, the state education department, the Department of Health, and the governor's office. We do get some guidance from the county, particularly in the health department. And I am part of a weekly conference call with the county executive every Monday morning. So we do get information in that manner. We've been told that the governor's office and the state education department will be releasing guidance for us to conduct this work, and that we will have to submit a plan. However, we don't have that guidance yet. What we do know is we are working very hard to envision all the possibilities of what lie ahead for us in the reopening of school. What I do know is that all of us here at the school district, and just about every parent that I have spoken with over the past few months, we all hope that it will be safe enough for us to return to school and have our traditional educational program, of which we are confident in and that we look forward to getting back to. There have been incredible lessons that we have learned during this process of remote learning, and we are taking those lessons that we have learned. We're applying things that we can right now, and we are actually working to improve upon the platform moving forward. I'm really quite appreciative of the collaboration with our teachers and the work that we're doing now in planning to make improvements to our remote platform from a teaching and learning perspective, and also from a technology perspective, and having the ability to add live streaming and having the equipment and the capability to do that more consistently. But we are committed to developing a consistent program that offers a clear schedule, clear expectations, and regular opportunities for high quality instruction. And while we do know and recognize that remote learning does not compare to in-person teaching, we are taking the lessons that we've learned and building that planning for the opening of school. So what I will say is there are two clear goals, two clear tasks of the reopening task force. The first, the main task, is to develop the Rise City School District reopening plan, of which there are two parts. It's the first part, which is the specific plans and developing all the plans around instruction, operations, social emotional health, and communication. And secondly, the task is to monitor the implementation of the plan and make appropriate recommendations for course corrections or modifications in real time. So the task force has the responsibility to gather information and assess the success of the program and look to ways to improve that in the immediate as we move forward. We can go to the next slide. We are working off a series of assumptions. We know that COVID-19 will continue to present significant challenges to us. We know that students will be returning to school with gaps in education. We know that special education students have lost services due to the extended closing and will require compensatory services. We know that staff will become ill and miss time due to COVID-19. We know that students will become ill and miss time due to COVID-19. We also know it's been made pretty clear to us by the governor that state funding for education will remain flat from this moment or will be decreased. We know that revenues will decrease as a result of lost sales tax and interest income. And we know that remote learning in some form will need to exist moving forward. And each of the subgroups, each of the 4 subgroups in this reopening task force are working off all of those assumptions as they lay out the very specific tasks and the work ahead in the development of plans. There are some interesting challenges that we face. So one of the things, I'll just give an example of one of the difficulties in this work. we had been advised from multiple sources that one of the things that we should be doing, which we've already done because we do have clerical staff in some of the buildings at a reduced, in the central office, a reduced scale, is look at barriers between workstations where social distancing can't be applied. So many school districts had already begun, we had not begun this yet, we had been in the evaluation process, had begun installing plexiglass barriers in between workstations in areas of high density of staffing. What we did learn yesterday was that the New York State Fire Marshal's office will not allow the installation of plexiglass in workstations because they don't meet, plexiglass does not meet the fire code. So thankfully, we had not already begun the installation process, but we had been in the middle of the evaluation process. And I feel for those school districts and my colleagues who had already begun the process of installing, although not too far along, installing plexiglass in workstations, because now that has to be removed and a product that meets the fire code standards needs to be installed. So one of the challenges we're facing is having the appropriate guidance from the state of New York as quickly as we possibly can as we develop out these plans. So the different subgroups of the task force are all working on listing out all of the different changes and all of the different tasks that we need set forth to move forward with. So each week, every Tuesday at 12 o'clock, the centralized task force that is overseeing all of the work meets, and each of the 4 subgroups meets weekly as well. And we are following a very strict project management approach. We're listing out the tasks, we're setting very clear goals, we have rigid timelines, and we've identified the persons of responsibility who will implement the tasks and complete the tasks that have been laid out in the plan. Our task force is wide-ranging and fairly large when you look at the whole task force together, but each individual subgroup, including the central group, are manageable numbers so that we can be efficient and effective in our work. But the groups are made up of administrators, teachers, parents, students, Board of Education members, staff members, and community representatives, particularly of our preschools, because our preschools do follow the lead of much of the schools. We've identified folks that bring expertise in the area of online education and schooling to help us improve upon that program. And we brought students into the conversation to assist in the work as well. So while again, I will say that it's very early in the work and we are doing this absent the guidance from New York State, we are looking all over the world and analyzing the plans and processes that are being put to place in public, private, and international schools across the world and the country to learn from places that are already ahead of us in the reopening of school. So I just want to thank those that have signed on for the task force, our teachers, our administrators, our students, our parents, and community members. Really appreciate this work. This is not easy work. This is incredibly challenging, but I do believe that it will help all of us end up with a high quality program that will meet the needs of our students as we move forward. And what I will be doing over the coming weeks is, as we have new information, I will be reporting that to the board and the community as we have more information available. And as I said in my report, I will be conducting a virtual coffee for the community next week to share the work of the reopening task force and how we are engaging in the tasks ahead of us. So